Remember how yesterday afternoon I was shooting the videos out here, I said it smelled like a stink bomb, and I saw a guy with like sandals and long hair. Well, I ended up talking to him, and he said that the suite next to him, they were trying to grow their own avocado plant from like a pit, and it ended up just like rotting and stinking, and therefore he threw it in that dumpster over there. So it wasn't a stink bomb. He actually wasn't the culprit, the guilty culprit. He actually was disposing of it because it smelled so bad. Rotting avocado plant that didn't go well. Now, let's get to work. Obviously, I made the 2 videos last night, and those were important. So I needed to look at some comments I received. Here's a common theme that I'm seeing. I want to tell you my version of reality on the other side of the camera here. So one of the videos I made yesterday was called Receding Hairline. I just realized how trendy my hairstyle is. And there were 2 comments related to that concept. The first one I want to look at is Manuel Costa, who had this to say, quote, "Even though it's a popular haircut, I think this isn't the best option for guys with a receding hairline like yours. In my opinion, you looked much better with longer hair. I couldn't even tell you had a receding hairline when you had longer hair, but this haircut exposed it, and it's obvious your hair is very thin," end quote. On a similar note, we got a short comment from Dave1555, who had this to say when he said, quote, "It looks good, but I think it looked a little thicker before," end quote. And I think even our good friend Maxwell Smart, who's my in-house barber who watches all my videos and helps me out tremendously, I think even he said that he liked the longer version of this particular haircut better. So it's interesting that's definitely how, that's what at least 3 people feel that way, that my hair looks thicker, and it definitely didn't expose my hairline when I had it longer. And obviously I've addressed that. I've addressed the fact that I love embracing my hairline, my age on this. I feel freer about it. While I could get away with a more juvenile hairline look, I really like this better. And I think in the real world where I live in Tennessee, the response I'm getting is actually very positive, even in this shorter version of what I've already got, which we can call a modern college cut. And it's funny because Seth, remember Seth, the guy that I interviewed in the drain pipe, the suit, or whatever you want to call it, that has that perfect hairline. I just saw him, and when he saw my hair, he said, "Oh yeah, nice crew cut." Those are his words, crew cut, because this is definitely a form of a crew cut, as it is. The bulk is right here, the length is right here, and then it's shorter back here, it gets longer up. So it's kind of like a grown out crew cut with the disconnected part. And I'm learning all this technology. I'm learning all this terminology again, thanks to Maxwell Smart. So it is interesting. Let's talk about how I feel, because we've talked about how here in Tennessee people like it. My wife likes it. Everybody's happy with this hairstyle here. Everyone likes it. On here on the YouTube channel, people like it, but say that the other version was better, or even that 2 haircuts ago was better. So it just depends on that. But that's interesting. It's mixed reviews. It's positive to mixed reviews here on my channel, but in the real world, it's like 100% approval rating. So that's interesting. But where do I fall on there? Personally, how do I feel about this hairstyle, despite having mixed to positive reviews on there, and despite everyone here loving it? I'm actually siding with my version of reality, which is here in Tennessee. I really like this hairstyle. I'm very happy with this hairstyle. What's interesting is, and it used to be like one of my most popular videos. Now it's went down to number 7 as other hair videos have become more popular. But there for a while, one of my top 5 was called Perfect Hairstyle for a Receding Hairline, or something like that. And it basically was this hairstyle, just without the disconnected part there. Same girl even cut it and everything. So that's what's interesting. I hadn't had this hairstyle in a year and a half, and the same girl cut it this way as I showed her that video. But again, we've got the disconnected part. That's the main difference this time around. I really thought that was a person, but it's not. So, but I feel great about this. I mean, I like embracing my hairline. I don't mind the fact that some thinning can show. I just, the way I feel right now, I'm like, man, if you were me and thought that you weren't going to have hair by the time you were in your mid-30s, and then you still have this much hair, it's like, well, I guess I better do something cool with it. And that's why I made that video last night talking about how I call this the I'm not a soccer dad haircut. I think there's definitely some validity in that we need to address, and that is, if you were me and thought that you wouldn't have hair on top of your head by the time you're in your mid-30s, if you thought that since you were in high school, if you just assumed men lose their hair, that's what happens, it's normal, and so therefore that's all you expected, and then you still have this much hair at age 36, and you're married and have 2 kids and a job and all that stuff, it's kind of weird. So it's like, because, well, then the danger is I'll look like a soccer dad. And for me, psychologically, I don't want to be labeled as a soccer dad. I don't want to look like just any other 36-year-old dad, because the ones that still have hair, I think, have kind of the same predictable haircut. So I don't want that. I don't want to be predictable. Remember, I want to die as the most open-minded old guy anyone's ever known. And obviously this concept of reinventing oneself, that's a major theme, especially this year on my channel here about hair loss, about reinventing yourself. So what holds more value for me personally is that in the real world, people really like this hairstyle, and it does send a message, and that message being that I'm not in denial of my hairline or my age, but I can still be cool, and people like it. So, and I like the fact that it's both short and kind of long. I mean, this is 2 inches on top. So I feel really good about it. I'm very happy. I'm very pleased with it. You know me, I just can't commit to the same hairstyle, especially when I'm experimenting as the final 4 years of me still having hair, because again, I'm assuming I will adopt Norwood 4 status at age 40 in 4 years. But until then, I guess I'll keep experimenting. But I want to express, I'm very pleased personally with this hairstyle, despite it exposing my hairline and despite it looking thinner than the other one. It's totally cool with me. And so it's like, it's that mix between, yeah, you do listen to what other people say. That's important. You do care what other people say and think to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, you use all that information to sort out and determine what works for you and what makes you happy.